Hi, and welcome to today's video, which is an update for the Project 100 Uses. This is a project that I started based on Too Much Tosh's 100 Club. I have picked a lot of items that are very difficult to finish up. So powder products mostly, actually it's all powder products. So a lot of eyeshadow palettes, blush, bronzer, highlighters. Things I know that I will never finish, maybe never even hit pan on, that I just want to get a lot of usage out of. So I'm keeping track of these things to 100 uses. And obviously I'm going to use them beyond that, but I'm only going to keep track to 100, with the exception of one item that I'll show you. There is one item I am tracking to completion just to kind of see how long it takes. I have a whole project pan playlist, and I'm also doing a pan that palette. Lately, my projects have varied about 50-50. Some are things that I'm trying to hit pan on and use up completely, and then the other half I'm just counting usage. So I'm also doing the project 10 uses, which I know that a lot of people are doing as well. And I'm also incorporating more usage into my other projects. I feel like it is a nice lower pressure way to really get usage and rotate your makeup collection. In today's update, I did get to 2 items with 100 uses, which is very, very exciting. Check my Project Pan playlist for the update last time. Last time I got 3 things to 100 uses, and let's just get started. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you're interested in my makeup look, I did film a Get Ready With Me video showing this makeup look where I kind of talked about beauty standards. So if you're interested, I'll link that in the description box. Okay, I mentioned there was one item that I am tracking to completion, and that is this Wet n Wild blush. Let me see how many times I've used it. Okay, I have used this 230 times. This is in my year-long Project Pan, finished 10 in 2020. I'm getting very close on this. This part is pretty thin now. Honestly, I really want to finish this up. I'm getting a little sick of it. I do feel like maybe I should repress it soon, but it's a pretty powdery formula, so it's still working quite well. Yeah, and I know that I did mention this at the last update as well. So yeah, I'm at 230 uses on that. And again, that is the only item that I am tracking to completion. Let's talk about Mary Luminizer. This is one of my favorite highlighters. I still love this one. I have actually finished a deluxe size of this in the past, and I've only used this one 29 times, which is kind of sad because this is one of my favorite highlighters ever. I absolutely love it. Not much usage for 29 times, but this is tightly pressed formula. This is a very pigmented highlighter. I really do love this one. So yeah. Want to use that more for sure since it's one of my favorites. Let's talk about a bronzer. Let's see where I'm at with this. Okay, this is the Too Faced bronzer. I have used this 73 times. And this is something that I panned one of these a long time ago, like 3, maybe 4 years ago, and it takes so much. I've used this 70 something times and barely made a dent in the writing. I am very light-handed with bronzer though. I will say I don't put a whole lot on, and often I will contour with a different shade and then just do a light bit of bronzer on the perimeter of my face. But actually today I am wearing this as a contour. I feel like this is neutral enough that for my skin tone, I can wear this as a bronzer or as a contour. I still really like this bronzer. I mean, I don't know that it's worth the full price of $30 because there's a lot of great affordable bronzers out there now, but yeah, kind of crazy. I've used this much and the writing is barely wearing off. Alrighty, let's talk about an eyeshadow palette, and that is the Natasha Denona Safari palette. And I have used this now 43 times. I've had this for a couple of months. And again, this formula, look at that. I mean, it looks like I haven't used it, but obviously I have. I really like this palette. I know it's one that a lot of people didn't like. Personally, I do like it. You know, preferences vary. And I've mentioned this in other updates. So what I count as one use, if I did an entire makeup look with 5 eyeshadows, that is one use. Or if I just take one shade and use it on the lower lash line on any given day, that is still just one use. That's how I count it. And I really do love this palette. I will say I do tend to use it as a complementary palette. I've done a few all matte looks just using this one, but I do often combine it with other palettes, mostly because I do like to wear a shimmer on the lid, but I've gotten some beautiful all matte looks with this. I love the color selection. Yeah, this is something that I got on sale a couple months ago, and honestly, I'm really glad that I bought it because I love it. Okay, let's talk about a very, very affordable palette. This is the BH Cosmetics Royal Affair, which is another one of my favorite palettes of all time. It's so good, and I've used this 72 times. This is a more powdery formula, so you can see a bit more dense and things like that. Not a lot though, because that's the thing with these usage projects is if I'm using all of the shades, like one day I'll use these two, another day I'll use this one or two, you don't get as much usage, like in appearance on the palette, if that makes sense, where if you're doing a project pan where you're trying to hit pan, you use one shade over and over and over again, obviously it looks very, very different. So when I use this palette, I mean, I pretty much reach for a different color every time I use it, but I love this color story. This is a good one. I got this so cheap for $7 at Marshall's a couple years ago, and yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, I'm at 72 on this one. Let's talk about a few more face products. The Morphe bronzer. This is another one of my favorites. I actually like this one more than the Too Faced. I think that it's a bit lighter and the undertone works a bit better for me, and I'm at 47 uses here. And again, I am really light-handed with a bronzer, so there's not much of a dip happening there. You know, these lines are worn away here, but yeah, I mean, I feel like this really goes to show how much it takes to really use something up, especially powder products. For me, bronzer is pretty difficult to finish. I have finished one bronzer this year, but it was a mini size. So yeah, for me, it's really difficult to pan bronzer because I use very little of it. Both of my Anastasia glow kits are in this project, and the first one I'm going to mention is the Sugar Glow Kit, which I do think is my favorite. This is one of my favorite highlighting products ever, and I am at, I forgot, okay, 57 uses on this. Which honestly, I wish I would have used this more because this is getting to be an older product in my collection. I've had it for over 3 years. It's still performing very, very well. You know, quality-wise, it's still great, but yeah, I've only used this 50-something times in over 3 years. That's a little sad, honestly, but I guess that's what happens when you have a large makeup collection. So yeah, I don't need to be buying new highlighters. This is still one of my favorite highlighters. Particularly this color is my favorite. So yeah, I really need to use this more. My other glow kit is the Nicole Guerrero glow kit. This is much newer. I purchased this in March this year when it came back out on the market, and I have used this 39 times. So really not that much less than the other one, considering I've had that one for 3 years and this one I've had for like 5 months, but this one is a bit more powdery of a formula, so I feel like this one shows usage more than the Sugar Glow Kit, which is more tightly pressed. This one is in a project where I am trying to hit pan. So yeah, some of these things I will put in other projects where I am trying to hit pan. This is in the Pie project pan. I'm trying to hit pan on this color right here. And yeah, I really do like this. I will say I do slightly prefer the formula of the Sugar Glow Kit, but I still love this. It is beautiful. As I mentioned, I did get to 100 uses on 2 items in this update, and the first one is the Milani Bold Obsessions palette. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. I really do love this palette. I think this Milani formula is so amazing. I'm sad that they have changed their eyeshadow formula. And yeah, I've used this over 100 times. So you can tell there's decent dips going in these 2 shades, which are obviously the ones I've used the most, but I mean, I've used pretty much every other shade in the palette. These 3 here I've only used once or twice, but this black is a really good eyeshadow, and I really love this dark brown, and I love this red and this copper and this gold. Such a good palette. And I did have this in a project where I was trying to pan on these 2 shades, and I didn't do it. It is a very, very tightly pressed formula. As you can tell, I have used this well over 100 times at this point. Still love this palette. This is not that old in my collection. I think I've maybe had this a year, maybe a year and a half. Eventually I would like to hit pan on it, but I'm happy I've used it as much as I have. Alrighty, and the other one that I got to 100 on is the Soft and Sultry, also by Milani. I love this one as well. This is one of my favorite cool toned eyeshadow palettes, and as you can tell, this one I have not hit pan on either. I do use the bottom row a lot, and I've actually used some of these shades in my eyebrows. I feel like it actually works quite well for that because these are cool toned, kind of really dark browns, which is what my brows are. My brows are very cool toned, almost black, not quite though. I love these three shimmers here, and I've also, this shade I've used a lot. I don't know if you can tell, there's some dip going in there. This is kind of a pinky brown. This works very well for blending out cool toned neutral looks. I really enjoy it for that. Also, I've used this kind of grayish brown quite a bit as well. There's not as big of a dip going in there, but I love this palette so much. One of the best cool tone palettes I've tried. Also, the BH Royal Affair has some really nice cool tones. And yeah, there are more cool tone palettes coming out there. I was tempted to get the new ColourPop taupe palette, but then I thought, I've got this. I've got several other cool tone palettes. I don't need it, although that one does look beautiful. But yeah, I'm really happy that I've used these two Milani palettes over 100 times. That is it for this update. I'm really enjoying this project because I do feel like using something 100 times, it takes a while. That is quite a bit. And it's so crazy that most of these I've not even hit pan on and I've used them that much. So it really goes to show how much usage it takes to finish and hit pan on makeup products, especially powder products that are tightly pressed. Definitely varies by formula. Yeah, as I mentioned, this was inspired by Too Much Tosh, and I will link my Project Pan playlist and my Pan That Palette playlist in the description box. That is it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.